Yeah, no, I would, here's what I said. First of all, I think having educated police officers is a good thing. Second of all, this has been around a long time, so this is basically part of the pay structure. I mean, you have the same thing in the teaching world, right? I mean, teachers who have master's degrees get a bump in pay. Teachers who have doctorate degrees get a bump in pay. So it's a good, you know, we want police officers to have the same kind of framework. I don't think it's a waste or a ridiculous idea. I think there was a time when this money was, there was degree mills operating, so people would come back, you know, from, you know, 3 days sleeping in night school to, you know, with a master's degree and get a bump in pay. So there were abuses. My understanding is that those abuses have been substantially controlled, so the people are actually getting degrees, actually getting education that makes them better police officers. And, as I say, it's been part of their pay structure for a long time. I don't think, actually, that if we wipe that out from the state level, towns would be relieved from the obligation of paying for it. Many police collective bargaining agreements commit the towns to paying for that, regardless, apart from any change in state law. So the towns are going to be stuck with that. So my view is, A, it's a decent thing. B, it's a form of local aid. One thing I neglected to mention in the course of my little overview is that although education aid has been held harmless, general government local aid, that's, you know, in theory allocated to things, police, fire, and highway and so forth, is slashed a total of 33% as compared to the prior year. So in my view, this is a component of general government local aid. And what I've said is, if we vote to raise funding, you know, if there's a place to pay for this fund, it is something that I've co-sponsored the amendment, and it's something I'd vote for, provided that we in fact are raising some money to pay for it. Now that's a big if, actually, because I don't know whether that's one of the big questions now is, what will the House do on this revenue question? But I will vote for it if we have the money somehow.
Thank you. So everybody knows that 50% of it is picked up by the state and 50% by the municipalities. And I think an associate's degree is 10% on top of your pay. A bachelor's is 15, and I think 20 for a master's and 25 for a legal degree. Is that what it is? I do think that certainly I've been a supporter of it. It has certainly taken police departments out of the dark ages and incentivized a lot of the police officers to become more professionals through education. There is no doubt it has worked. However, you know, during these dark times, everything is on the table. Everything is on the table, and maybe it's, you know, if there were going to be some sort of a reform to be reached, you know, I think conversation is important to have. I haven't come up with one yet, but I do think that, you know, you can't just arbitrarily say, okay, that's gone. Many of those police officers probably have mortgages and things like that that are predicated into their pay, and just to cut it immediately could adversely economically disadvantage people who have built their budget like all of us do. However, there's probably room for conversation about, you know, what type of a responsibility do we have? Yes, but also, can the cities and towns pick it up? As Will has said, it's negotiated, and most of them have the obligation if the state doesn't pick up its share. So it's, once again, one of the issues that we're going to have to address, and it's a big one, because economically it's $100 million. You probably all read today. So it's a difficult issue. I absolutely can understand where Will is, and I'm there, but we also have to figure out how we're going to pay for this. You know, there's two sides to it.